Today I'm going to show you how you can make your own plant stake names using a cut file bundle that I just created. The cut file bundle has about 300 names of fruits, vegetables, and herbs that you might plant in your home garden. I'm going to show you how you can create these using the Dollar Tree stakes. They're a pack of 10, or you could also make your own. This is made out of a cut up milk jug, so there's lots of different ways that you can label your garden. I'll put a link in the description to where you can buy this bundle of plant names. After you buy the file and download it, you'll want to extract them, and then once you open this file, go ahead and open the PDF, the first read plant names list and instructions. This will give you a quick way to find any plant names that you're looking for, since there are over 300 words in this file. So open the PDF, and then either here you can click on the magnifying glass, or you can do Control F or Command F if you're on a Mac, and it'll open up the search bar. And then I'm going to look for rosemary, so I'll just type in rosemary. Give it a second. It is a lot of things to look for. And then it will pull up all of the letters that match, and then here in green is the word rosemary. So I can see in the file O through R is where rosemary will be. So then I can go back to my files. You'll see that there's 3 files for each group. The first one is the DXF file, which you can use if you have a Silhouette Studio Basic Edition. But if you have Designer Edition or above, I recommend using the SVG. That will be the one that looks like your browser, most likely. So this Microsoft Edge is the SVG. I included a PNG. It's just an image of the file. You can't cut it. You would have to trace it, and I'd never recommend tracing text. So use the DXF or the SVG for your cut files. So I'm going to go ahead and open this O through R. So I'm going to open up my Silhouette Studio, go to File, Open, and then choose Plant Names O through R, and it will load. When you first open the file, group together. So if I click on this, you'll see the select boxes around everything. So you want to right click and ungroup, and it's going to ungroup every single letter. So you just choose the one you want to use. So I'm going to do rosemary, drag it out to the side, right click, and group. And now it's all ready to use. On every single page of the files, I included this template, which is the same size as the Dollar Tree plant stakes. If those are what you're using, you just go ahead and size your text to fit in there, and then we'll set it aside. So I'm also going to do sage, so I can go back to my plant name if I wasn't sure. I would see sage is under the S, and then I could open the S file. So the reason I have this sorted by alphabet is because some of the names have multiples. So like lettuce could be Bibb lettuce, Burnett lettuce, butter lettuce, green leaf lettuce, and then like under chili, it might be under peppers or chilies. So I have like bird's eye chili, chili de arbol, Thai chilies, but you might want peppers. So that would be under P. So for peppers, we have, Anaheim, ancho, bell, pepper. But you might also want, red bell pepper. So I have red, bell, and pepper. So you would open this file to put those texts together. So I'll show you how, since I already have the O open. So here I have peppers. So if I selected those, and then I wanted red, hold shift and then click the other ones. So red, and then bell, and then I can place them in here. And then if I want to make it bigger, I just grab the corner. I can leave red, bell, or make them bigger. Make them the size that you want. I can go up to here, and I can align them in the middle, and then make that the size that I want. And then if this is how I want it to look, I can select these 3, right-click, group, and then set aside. So I have rosemary, red bell peppers, and then just repeat the process for all of the plant names that you want to cut. Okay, so now I'm going to show you real quick just how to open the DXF files if you're using the Silhouette Studio Basic Edition. So you open up the folder that has them all, and we'll just open this plant names A to B. So go to File, Open. DXFs don't transfer very clean though, and you'll see that in a minute. So to open the DXF file, that took a good minute and a half to actually open. And then when it does, it doesn't open here on the design screen like the SVGs do. It's going to open up a little bit farther out. And if you need to, you can go up to zoom out And if you can't see it, and then you might need to zoom out a little ways. I've seen sometimes DXFs open up over here. Sometimes they open up really tiny, but you can just select it, move it down to your page, and then we'll just go back to the page here. Fit to window. And then you'll see they're all individual. So just like on the SVGs, they weren't all grouped together. They just open up individually. So we can select, let's see, basil, right click, group. And if you want to, just to make it easier to see, you can fill these with color. DXF files don't transfer the fill colors, and you can also see we'll need to right click and make this a compound path in order to see the cutouts of the letters. So, and then I'll change the line color to black, and then from there you just resize it to whatever you want and cut it out. If you aren't using the Dollar Tree plant stakes and you're making your own, or you have another one, so the one that I made is out of a milk jug. I cut a piece of painter's tape and applied it to the milk jug. I cut around the edge of it with an X-Acto knife. Then I peeled off the painter's tape and stuck it back to the jug to make another one. Just go ahead and draw the shape of whatever you have. The place where I can put the name is 7/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to change this to 0.875, and it is 3 1/4 inches long. So I'm going to change this to 3.25. And then now I have a template based on a stake that I made myself. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to rotate this. Open the transform panel. And I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. So you can make this as big as you want. So I can move this to the side. And then for my Dollar Tree one, I'll make it a little bit bigger. And you probably want the letters to be proportionate throughout your garden, especially if you see them all at the same time. So you don't want to make, if we have sage, I mean, that we could definitely make this really large, but that might look funny compared to the other ones. So it's up to you, however you want it to look. But I'm just going to make it a little more comparable to these. Now I have all these the size that I want, so I'm going to line these all up. Since they were all grouped, I can just grab one. I'm going to select them all and align them to the left. And if I wanted to, I could add some weeding boxes or lines. Okay, I can line them up where I will put the vinyl on my mat. Remove anything else that I'm not cutting. Click on Send to open the Send panel. Make sure they're all set to cut. I'm going to be cutting vinyl. I always recommend doing a test cut, and I actually have a free printable blank perfect silhouette cut settings where you can write down your own cut settings. I highly recommend that. With this blade that I'm using, it needs to be on a 2, force a 10, I'll do a speed of 5, line segment overcut turned on. This is a great project for using scraps of vinyl. So I have this end cut. I'm going to remove the covering from my mat, and this is a brand new mat, first time using it. It'll be okay because I'm using vinyl, but it's definitely going to be sticky. So I'm just going to go ahead and line up the vinyl on the edge of the mat and smooth it down. It hangs off the end, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it. This is the only part that I'm going to need here, and I can see that it is 2 inches. So now I know where I can put the designs on my screen, and I'm going to load this into the machine. So I have the mat pushed up against the ends, and I'm going to load. I have my auto blade loaded and make sure it's loaded correctly, and I can go ahead and send in the machine. Now I can go ahead and click send. Alright, so I just finished cutting. I'm gonna weed out a little piece to make sure it cut all the way through. And it did, so now I can go ahead and unload. So I chose not to put in weeding boxes because I can just cut these apart with scissors. So I'm going to carefully remove this from my brand new mat. Set that aside. For this, I'm just going to cut these apart. This is the plant stakes. They come in a pack of 10 for $1, so they're only 10 cents a piece, which is a great deal when you make your own plant stakes. It's always a good idea to prep the surface that you're going to add vinyl to. This stake is pretty smooth on both sides, so you decide whichever side you want first. I'll do the side rubbing alcohol. So I'll just go ahead and clean these off. Clean and dry. And then I'll show you a reverse weeding one. So this is cut. I'm just going to put the transfer tape right on top of it, smooth it down with my squeegee, and then I'm going to remove the paper backing from the vinyl, and you can see that. So now I'm going to remove the excess vinyl, and the transfer tape will hold all of the letters in place. And then you'll use the weeding tool to get the centers out. And there is the word already on the transfer tape. And I will get my stake here. If you use a grid, you can align it and then burnish it on really well. Remove transfer tape. Okay, so this one is for the sign that I made out of the milk jug. So I have my weeded vinyl. I'm just going to pick it up with my transfer tape and remove it from the backing, and then apply it to my stake. And just make sure you burnish it on there really well, and then remove the transfer tape. If you have some letters that are sticking, just place your squeegee on top of it and then peel the transfer tape backwards and then pull it off that way. And then make sure it's just pressed on there really well. And then you want to let these cure. It takes about 72 hours for the vinyl to fully adhere to the plastic that it's on before you put it outside or let it get wet. You can actually put it in the sun and that'll help it too. So here's my plant stakes, and I can go and put them in my garden. Thanks for joining me today and learning how to create plant stakes for your garden. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more videos where we have fun and make stuff.